to be talking about word of mouth, right? And two parts of word of mouth, right? One, word of mouth, the organic way, right? And then the other way, word of mouth marketing, which is a strategic way that you could plan your product, service, album release, a way that you come up with to get people to talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. So in this, just going into this, we want to talk about why word of mouth is important. And do you want to touch on your points why, Whitney, or you want me to say why I think is important?
You can start.
I think word of mouth is important because word of mouth has more credibility than you saying why. How can I put this?
Period.
Someone else saying your business is the shit is better than you saying that your business is the shit, right? Because everybody expects the person to speak highly of their own business, right? But when someone else says it, a complete stranger says like, oh man, like, have y'all checked out Whitney's community page? Like, it's really dope. I'm really benefiting from it. Like, she's really giving me gems with the one-on-ones. Like, it's really dope. That speaks more volumes than Whitney talking about it. And so that's the power of word of mouth, is that it's always better when you have people that aren't a part of your business, your organization, advocating for your business and organization. Because it's like, dang, you're not even on the payroll, but you're speaking highly of that person's business, album, product, or whatever. So that's the importance from my perspective. What about you, Whitney?
Yeah, and I think, like that voucher, like a lot of when I first started doing like social media services, the bulk of my clients came from referrals from people who knew me, who were telling somebody like, yo, like, you need to get with her, or you know what I mean, like, she can help you. And based off the strength of the person who was referring me to people, like, they were coming to me like, I was just told, like, Dio from the Bay Area, he's so well respected. He runs a music studio, and so he's in the studio every day with artists, right? And he knows where they're at with their career. He knows who has a budget. He knows who needs help with what. And so so many people would hit me and be like, Dio just told me to get with you. Like, they didn't even know, like, but the strength of that referral carried so much weight that it got me in the door working with a lot of people.
That's and that's the third part, the word of mouth recommendations that I didn't, word of mouth. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I want to give a shout out to Jayla real quick, who is in the room. Jayla is always hanging out with us in our lives, and this topic was actually a suggestion from her. So thank you for suggestions, listening to feedback. But yeah, so shout out to her real quick.
Oh boy. So I just want to go into what is word of mouth, right? Mm-hmm. Organic word of mouth is pretty much when you have a service, product, a piece of content that is so creative, is so unique, it maybe even triggered an emotion that is going to make people talk about it, right? You didn't have to, this is something that didn't have a plan. There was no campaign. That was just somebody getting in front of the camera, or somebody saying, you know what, I'm just going to release this project today, and the title of it or the features of it or how I come out with it was so crazy that everybody and their mama was speaking about it, right? So when we talk about word of mouth, as far as like triggers are concerned, there's an individual, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Everybody knows who Kevin Samuels is. Now, why did Kevin Samuels, I never watched his podcast one time.
Me neither.
One time. But I knew about him, and I would see clips of his podcast every day. Why do you think that is, right? One is because, me personally, I've never seen a man speak about women in such a way publicly before, right? not publicly, behind the closed doors or off camera for sure. But
Right.
like how he was talking about women, like giving his honest, brutal honesty, that was one, right? Two was because how he was presenting it, it triggered people's emotion, male and female. And it triggered their emotion to the point where, and let's just be honest, a lot of people like to share toxic things. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of fact. And the things that he was saying was so off the wall crazy that he didn't even have to share it because everybody on social media was. And the word of mouth spread. Who is Kevin Samuels? Who is
Man,
Kevin? And what validates him saying all these things about women?
nothing other than the fact that people share his content all the time.
You feel me? So he triggered on the emotion of women, right? Where he was going in, going hard on them, telling them what he thought his opinion of a high class female was. And then he triggered men in the sense of you got men that had that mindset but just didn't have the balls to say it. Kevin Samuels did. So that is word of mouth from a triggering point of view, as I'm going to feed off of your emotions. And then when he saw it was working, he just went full throttle with it. So he just got more disrespectful. You feel me? Women that he probably wouldn't on a regular base, like on a regular day, discredit or belittle, he just said, I'm going in on everybody. Because that he knew everybody. He did on men too. He went in on men, but not as much as women. And because of that trigger, and because he was aware, you can say whatever you want about Kevin Samuels, but he was smart enough to know that I just triggered something and it's working, and I'm gonna keep on doing it because you're gonna keep on sharing it.
You gotta
And that's
respond.
a major one. And that's the reason why you saw him on all these different major podcasts. That's the reason why he had all these views, and he was getting shared from here to, they probably know him in China. Like this dude, Kevin Samuels, talking bad about all these women in America. Who
Yeah.
is he? You know what I'm saying? My second that I want to do, like that was based on triggers, right? Word of mouth based on triggers. The second one is word of mouth based on shock value, right? So just real quick, I'm gonna go over this one, the music video. It was a music video that Tyler the Creator did, and it was called Yonkers. And one of the major reasons why Yonkers went viral was because Tyler the Creator ate a roach.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. Yeah.
He ate a roach. Now, I ain't ever seen a crackhead eat a roach. But Tyler the Creator chose to eat a roach on his music video and threw up on his music video. That caused people to go crazy because they ain't never seen nothing like that before.
Suki Hana did something else that made her throw up, and that definitely went viral too.
Is it along the lines of Crystal? Is it along the lines of Naughty Dreams?
Definitely on her OnlyFans, and people were talking about it. But let me tell you, I bet that curiosity got her some new subscribers.
Oh boy. So just think shock value. The second thing, right? Recent, like Yonkers video, that was like 10 years ago almost, right? What happened more recently, right? Shout out to the homie, very opinionated. I'm rocking on his sweater right now. A day in LA, when Dejan put out the LA Rap Report card. The LA Rap Report went viral. It went viral on so many levels.
And we have some people, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have some people in here right now that are from the Bay, and so they may have missed how much the LA report card shook the table. But I just want to put it in context. Like, basically, if you yes, Sydney knows. It had the timeline in shambles. Twitter, Instagram, man. But basically, like, he just took, like, it would be like, man, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but like if you just took like all of the poppin' Bay Area artists, and he graded them, and the grades were absolutely crazy because he used an average system. So like he had the artists in their feelings, he had the artists mad, he had other people in media mad, he had it'd be like, put it like this, like someone who's killing it in the Bay right now, like let's say La Russell, right? And say you see La Russell on a Bay Area report card and he's graded with like a C, you'd be like, man, what the, he's going up right now. And then so he was giving people crazy grades like that, to the point where he got a No Jumper interview to break down like what his process was. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut into
no,
but I just wanted to
was,
fill on my Bay people in on what the on what that moment was. Yes, he got some of them to get in the studio.
Right,
Okay,
right.
Bob, you can take over.
And so Whitney explained it perfectly, right? He only focused on LA artists, but some of the grades that he gave some of these LA artists, it made him upset. I think he gave Kalan for real like a C or
And
a D.
Hot.
Right? And so, but here's the thing, right? Where it originated from, and this is where it's sometimes you just gotta act, right? And so it originated from I believe it was Cool Mo. I think it was Cool Mo D. I think it was Cool Mo D, right? No, Big Daddy Kane. I apologize. It was Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane had a report card that he did for artists in New York. And it went viral in New York. So then Dejan saw that and was like, you know what? Let me do the same thing for LA. He did it for LA. It was not planned out. It wasn't even his idea. It was some dude from New York from right. The 80s. It was his idea. Yeah. Dejan took it. He ran with it. It was organic. It did what it did. He made history. He had a LA rap report card Twitter space that Mustard was in, and all these people came in or whatever just to talk about the report card. And like Ty said, he put one of the Jason Cash, who's a hot popping artist out here right now from Carson. Jason Cash got a D, but then Jason Cash went hard in the studio, and then he ended up linking up with Mustard to do a single.
Right. So, yeah, definitely it shook the culture.
100%. And then so that is the unplanned word of mouth, the organic word of mouth. And so now I'm gonna pass it over to my player partner, and she about to talk about word of mouth marketing.
Yeah. And I just want to add on to that too. The reason why that LA report card and everybody talking about it, what it did for Dejan is it got him on No Jumper. I think there was a Vibe article online about it. Like, so many people wanted to hear, why did y'all grade these rappers with these grades? And it put a spotlight on him, and it helped build his platform. Because, you know, once he got a chance to explain, you know, it kind of made some sense. And then a lot of people were like, you didn't even put so-and-so on there. But he was just like, aha, I have another one coming out, and this is going to be for
the
generation before. Yeah, like, man, he got so much press, media, word of mouth from that. Yeah. So everybody in LA who's in hip hop and in the rap community knows about A Day in LA now. I'll tell you that much.
100%.
You ain't really putting out no music, and you not really involved like that if you're in LA and you don't know who Dejan is now. I'll tell you that much.
Man.
For better or for worse. But what I was going to talk about too is also another aspect you kind of touched on, but I want to elaborate on, and that's kind of what I started with, is like the power of referrals and like so user generated content now like is such a skewed concept, because what user generated content is now is when brands are actually paying creators to make content and they're approving the content before it gets posted. So it's not organic at all, right?
Right.
What user generated content started out with, because when I would work with brands and we would say like, you know, you want to be able to do something to get user generated content, it was originally organic, right? So for example, with a music artist, like if they were to host a challenge and they're like, I just put out this song, you know, remixing it, that type of stuff, and you're doing a challenge, or when rappers or artists, they'll say like, I got $500 for whoever does the best video to my song, whatever, right? That type of stuff, like that's what you would consider the original term of user generated content, when people are making content promoting whatever you have going on organically. Nowadays, when you hear that term, it means brands have paid somebody to make content and they're approving it. And it's like very more so, it's like PR and advertising, kind of the lines are blurred. But that and the power of reviews and referrals, and the stuff that doesn't happen online. Like I said, when I started doing social media services for people, I got the majority of my business from referrals. I had a call with somebody and the call went good, and so they told their friend, and their friend like is coming to me and they're like, you know, I found out about you from so and so, they had a good call with me, so they're telling other people they need to call me. Thing. Right. Right. Nobody would, yeah. And we haven't, hold on. People rating or period. Period. Yeah. But see, LaRussell is a different kind of dude, because LaRussell isn't moved or shaken by what other people have to say, but they're about him. But the reason why is because he has such a strong fan base that holds him down, that it don't matter what your opinion is. You could say you don't even think he could rap. That would be a lie, but it wouldn't move him.
Ooh, now that she talking about LaRussell and we talking about like planned word of mouth,
yeah,
he's the king of planning word of mouth when it comes to his structure of how his pay structure, how he splits, the way he does his concerts, like where he doesn't go to no major venues.
He had artists like Chance the Rapper, like, forget trying to get your own interview, which he's had his own interviews with Breakfast Club twice, right? But he has other artists who are arguably bigger than him, have had longer careers, have bigger audiences, for, you know, just to put it that way. He has other artists on their interviews talking about him. He had Chance the Rapper on the Breakfast Club, I believe it was, talking about this dude LaRussell doing concerts in his backyard. And it's like he didn't even have to be there for that interview. Like but with that talking, like, that also goes back to when we first started, and I was saying the weight of some people's referrals are heavier now, right? So when you have a big cosign, not even necessarily like a you know, like a cosign, but when you have somebody who's respected and they refer you, that's gonna go further. I think LaRussell, the story of how he first grew his page from 4,000 to his first jump in followers was from Wallow reposting a video of him rapping. And he went from like 4,000 to I think like 11,000, or I don't know how much. They were talking about it at the YouTube Avenues event because Wallow was there. He was hosting it, and Wallow was telling that story, and LaRussell was there. But again, like word of mouth, and somebody sharing your content and making something that touches people enough to share, or shock value enough for it to be shared.
I got another story as far as like the planned word of mouth marketing. Do you remember? Okay, Nipsey coined the first smart store ever, and the word of mouth behind that was crazy because he was the first one before. Like, it's common now, like we saw with that Pokemon Go, where they would point their phone in a direction and you would see stuff. I think it's called augmented reality.
Yeah.
But Nipsey was the first one with that technology where you could grab a Crenshaw shirt and point your phone to the marathon tag, and you would get exclusive content that nobody else would have. He would come out with a song 3 years later, and he would say, if you got that Crenshaw shirt from 3 years ago, go grab it right now and put the phone on the back of the tag. I just uploaded a video that only y'all can see.
Right.
And that's another way to do planned marketing, planned word of mouth marketing, where people gonna talk about it because it's like, oh, snaps, like this is crazy. I ain't never heard about this before. But they planned it. It's not as organic as La Russell in his backyard and just going viral from the backyard.
So there is a book called, and for anybody, whether you work in marketing, but if you have anything that you want to promote, like Nipsey read a lot of books, right? And he credits a lot of the books he read with ideas that he got, right? Of sparking that idea. There's a book called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. And one of those laws is to be the first to do something.
Right.
So you talk about Nipsey. Nipsey was the first to sell, that he was the first to do Proud to Pay and to have, sell a mixtape for $100. He did limited quantities, all of that, right? La Russell has kind of taken that and put his own spin on it and made it bigger, applied it to more things, etc. But La Russell was the first artist to say, you know what, I'm going to sell shares of my royalties to fans. That's what really started it when he did that Black Friday last year, and that got people talking, right? Then you talk about throwing the concert in his backyard, first to do that, right? Then you talk about like his pay what you want for his merchandise, first to do that. And so while he has the talent and the music to back it up and he's consistent with the content, it's him being innovative with how he does things that gets people talking and being the first to do that. Like Tory Lanez, when he dropped his album on NFTs and he sold 1 million copies, he sold them all for $1 and he sold 1 million of them. He was the first artist to do that. So a lot of something, if you're trying to get planned word of mouth, like planned people talking, is to either be the first or market it as being the first to do it.
Right. And real quick, I just want to shout out everybody that's in here. Appreciate you, love you, respect you. If you could share this to 3 people while you up in here, share this to 3 like-minded individuals, because like everybody is benefiting from this information, and this is information that people charge a grip of money for. We've read the books, 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. We read the book Contagious, where Nipsey got the idea for the $100 CD. And we're giving you this game because you may not have the time to read the books. You may not have this time to do the research. So please, the only thing that we asking is if you share this with 3 people, get more people in the live. But I think this is the best time to hop up into word of mouth recommendation. And to me, I'm gonna give one case study that I because I'm a Nipsey head. I love Nipsey. I grew up in LA. Nipsey is like our Malcolm. You feel me? And one of the things in 2006, I don't know if you noticed, I'm like a Nipsey fan stan, right? So Nipsey didn't really get his buzz until 2009.
Okay.
But in 2006, he was on the Pac's Life CD on a feature on one of Pac's songs.
Okay.
But nobody knew who Nipsey was. So how did he get that placement? How did he get that feature? Well, because of the individuals he was managed by at the time, who had a ridiculous amount of credibility in the music business industry, right? And that was Big U and Steve Lobel. Now, what is Big U's credits? Big U's credits is he was with Corrupt his whole career.
Okay.
He did a lot of stuff for Corrupt. He did a lot of business with Corrupt. He probably learned the game with his relationship with Corrupt. Steve Lobel, Steve Lobel did way more shit than the person that I'm about to name, but we know Steve Lobel put man on. Buzzing, 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 do, 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 do. Okay, Steve Lobel. Sorry I had to do that, but I had to, like, some people may have forgot who man was. but Steve Lobel put man on, and a gang of other artists for the East Coast. Bone Thugs and Harmony was another group that Steve Lobel managed when they was like in their prime. So with the word and the credibility of Steve Lobel and the credibility of Big U, it got that word of mouth recommendation for this person who we think is about to be the hottest next artist. Nipsey, he needs to be on this, even though he didn't have anything to prove that he deserved to be on that record. So that just proves that it may not depend on who you are, but if you have a relationship with someone who could push the button, then their word of mouth recommendation is going to get you in the door.
Right. And yeah, that cosign, that's what I started off saying. Like I started off getting the majority of my clients from word of mouth, from recommendations from somebody who's very credible and well respected in the Bay. And me and him work so well together, where we throw each other assists all the time in terms of plugging each other with different situations. Or it's like, you know, I know so-and-so and they need this, I'm gonna bring you in on it, to the point where it's like, if I know that anything that he does, if there's a spot for me in that situation, he's gonna bring me in, and likewise. But with planned recommendation, what was I about to say? Oh, here's an example. So I was doing monthly services with clients where I had 2 tiers of like services at different prices, right? And I had somebody who I knew that they're consistent with their content. I know their personality, and I know they're really serious about wanting help with their content, right? And me, as still being a fairly, you know, new with my business and services, I still need word of mouth, and I need case studies, and I need to be able to say, I did this, I helped this person do this, etc., to build up my credibility, right, in my business. So I told him that if you are willing to tell people about me, and because I don't normally tell people, I don't publicize who I'm working with unless they say it, or unless they're okay with it, right? Because everybody might not want it to be known that they're getting help with their content or whatever, right?
Right.
So but I told him, if you will tell people about me, you know, like, and share working with me, whatever, I will give you the higher tier of service for the lower price. Now, a lesson that I learned is I'm not giving any discounts, but what I will do is I will give you more than what you're paying for as a deal, instead of giving a discount. So I told him, if you could pay for the lower tier of service, I'll give you the attention of the higher tier in exchange for you know, promoting working with me, and, you know, giving me a review and everything. So he agreed, and he is like, he's been having great success. He listens, he takes great feedback. Everything I ask him to do, or I suggest he does it like that day. Like within 12 hours, he's doing it. His page has grown, but not only has his page grown, but he is always like, every time, like, you know, he reaches new milestones, like, you know, on TikTok, like he's consistently getting videos with like over 1,000 views, or, you know, his page is growing, or he's seeing, you know, his content improving and things like that. He's always tweeting about me and tagging me and referring me. And not only are his followers seeing that, but now that's content that I can take, that I can screenshot and I can share, and I can say, this is how people who work about me feel. Now, mind you, again, because I don't, I have some clients that, you know, ask if, you know, they'll give a review, or they'll write a review, or record a video. But again, like I said, because everybody doesn't necessarily want people to know that they got help with their strategy. or that they have help in that sense. So I just out the gate, like I could already tell he was going to be a great success story. So I did that in exchange, and it's helped me get content that I can show, that I can be able to post, where it's not me saying I helped him get this. It's him saying out of his own mouth, like, my content is so much better, like my page is growing, all of this stuff, and I'm able to take what he's saying and share that for what's the word? What's the term? Social proof.
Right.
Social proof. So a lot of times we'll see restaurants and we'll see businesses, because I like to be able to take this and apply it to different, situations, where like I went to there's a smoke shop the other day, and they were like giving out something free, and it was a rolling tray. He was like, he's giving it out in exchange for asking people to write reviews, or a lot of times restaurants will be like, we'll give you a free drink or free something if you post a Yelp review and you show it to us, or if you post something and you tag us. So these are ways, like before the term user generated content changed to what it is now, which is not actually user generated content, but the original meaning of that term was to find something, an incentive for people to make their own content promoting you. So now you're not just saying whatever to your audience, but you have somebody like their audience trust them. So you're getting them to say it to their audience on their page for you. No, Winter.
So the last part of like word of mouth, I guess as a whole, this is another component to it, is also how it could affect you in a negative way. Now, for every time, so if you please one person, like if you please a customer, they're going to tell one person, right? If you're lucky, they'll tell two.
But if when it's bad,
they're going to tell five.
They're going to tell at least five.
At least five, right? So if you make them happy, they're going to tell one. If you make them upset, they're going to tell five. So, which is why, when this goes into like your character, your ethics, your morals, if you have any. I hope y'all do. If you're adding value to people, one mistake could cost you your name.
Right. And I think that's why LaRussell, his fan base is so strong too, because if you go to one of his shows, the first time I went to one of his shows, when you walk in, the door's open, but the show hasn't started yet. Mm-hmm. He's walking around giving everybody hugs and taking pictures. Like, not even where it's like a meet and greet, or like you don't even necessarily have to approach him. Like, he's going to come up to you and give you a hug and, shake your hand or whatever. And from what I've seen, like he did his show in Brooklyn, and they were talking about how he was at the top of the staircase entering in the show, and he greeted everybody with a hug. And so that type of interaction now, when people leave that show, like it's going to make people like him even more. It's going to make people want to support him even more. So like how you're saying, like with character, like the good or the bad, you know what I mean? Like, how many times have you heard stories of people being like, oh, they met a celebrity and they're like, oh, they were really rude, or they tipped bad, or you know what I mean, whatever. But that same experience, like that gets people to go to bat for you. That's how you get fans who, when someone else is talking about you online, your fans are going to jump them in the comments before you never even have to respond, based on how much people love you. That was kind of off topic, but yeah, just talking about how like the bad can outweigh, but absolutely.
Right. So it's like to like add some more, throw some more gasoline onto that fire, right? The flip side of it, when we first got our biggest guest in the kitchen, like the first guest that we got that was big was DJ Head, right? But that came from the relationship that I had with Salas, his manager. But it had been years since I talked to Salas. Years. I hadn't talked to Silas in years. And I reached out to DJ Head first. This is the word of mouth recommendation, right? I was introduced to Silas through my partner Sharday, which was his mentee. And I kept my name solid and my name clean, which is why when DJ Head was like, it's whatever Silas says. Silas, I recently saw him at a brunch I went to, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Bobby, like if it was anybody else, I would have said no." But I was like, for Bobby, for sure. Why? Because word of mouth can mess up your name. And if you ain't I kept my name solid for years since I talked to DJ Head manager. So when Head asked Silas, "Hey, can I do this show? It's Bobby." He was like, "For sure." And so that's the now. What if I had bad mouthed them, 5 years ago?
This is why
And
you
they
be careful how you talk about people on Twitter too.
100%, 100%.
Because how many times you see them pulling up old tweets and it's like, this could be somebody that you want to work with. And they're like, didn't you say this in 2014 about me?
You always have to watch. If you're not watching what you say, if you haven't realized nothing up to this point now with social media, there are people that will go back to 2015 just to find something that that goes against what you're talking about today.
I mean,
right?
all you have to do is type in like I saw today, someone was talking about Ice Spice and they were like, she's beating these black allegations because they just typed in Ice Spice and the word black and they got a whole list of tweets of her talking about like black women are beautiful and like it's a good day to be black and good morning to all the black women, so she has a history. Like they just show one that starts one keyword, you feel me, and pull your Twitter history. So they don't even have to like scroll back. But yeah, they can. It's crazy because I see a lot of people, they'll be talking like artists and whatnot, or people people trying to get in the industry, and they'll be talking crazy about stuff just because they see it's trending. And it's like they don't really know these people, but it's just like you don't know that this person who you're talking about, you're criticizing because that's the trend topic right now. You don't know that that's somebody that might be on the other side of a door that you want open later.
Oh God. So lastly, right, how do we keep the people talking? This is word of mouth, right? A lot of people in here, there's a cinematographer in here, there's PR individuals in here, there's creatives in here, right? How do we keep the people talking about what we have to offer, right? And from me doing my research for these lives, I came up with these 4 things, right? 1, you have to be seen. Social media, website, putting your brand on merchandise or something. You have to your brand has to constantly be seen so it can stay in people's mouths, right? Whitney, she not wearing her shirt right now. I'm disappointed in you. I'm highly disappointed in you right now.
You wouldn't be able to see it anyway.
Well, you can stand up and show it. But the other thing, so that 1 is being seen, 2 is being consistent, which is the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing for creatives to do because they're always overthinking everything because they're so creative instead of just going to work, right? So 1 is being seen, 2 is being consistent, 3rd is adding value. And not just adding value to just somebody you want to grow a relationship with. Add value to your clientele. Add value to your tribe. You know what I'm saying? And the last is ask the right questions. Like Whitney was saying, do you mind if you do a video saying how much you like my service? That's the right question to ask the right individual who is happy with your service, product, or music.
And knowing the right time to ask that too.
Right.
Like you don't want to go into it like looking for that review or that feedback, and because you don't want them to think like you're only doing this because whatever, you know what I mean? So it's knowing the right time to ask for that feedback too, or for that, public, I don't say public praise, but those reviews, like they matter. And also asking people if it's okay if you share it. You know what I mean? Like for example, like, you know, is it okay if I post this? Like, because I've had conversations with people in the DMs, and people have DM me and told me, like, have given me feedback on like stuff that they've learned from me and how it helped them, and I'll ask them like, is it okay if I share this? You know what I mean? So, you know, that goes to character and values and all of that as well, but making sure, like, because that person who maybe messaged you or something, and, you know, like, and they were giving you a compliment, and you go and you put that out there, like, you could shut down somebody who could have continued supporting you just because the way that you shared that was wrong.
Man.
But what Jayla say, that's why so many inexperienced entrepreneurs who don't know the ask etiquette, are getting called out. And also, if you know, you're sharing stuff like that without people's permissions, other people aren't going to feel comfortable sharing with you either. But a lot of relationships that I have made have come from supporting people, have come from, like, in that sense of offering value. Like, supporting people on social media is offering value. If nothing else, if it just helps them in the algorithm, that's adding value, because the more people who like or who comment or who share or who save. I have a friend of mine, and for the longest time, I don't know if he still does it, but he would save all of my posts, and I would always have like one save, and I would ask him like, did you save it? And he was doing it to help me in the algorithm. Nothing that I'm posting is of value to him, because like, he doesn't need marketing, social media. He never even posts on social media, but he was just saving all of my posts to boost it in the algorithm. But like, people, it's like, when you get the chance to get somebody's attention, and it's somebody that you want to work with or you want a relationship with, people will get it messed up, where the first thing that you should do is, I know Jayla and I have talked extensively about this, but coming to them from a place of can I help you? This is what I can do for you, and not from a place of I can make you hot, or I can do this, or you're not doing this right, I can do it better for you, or you need me. But coming from a place of, if there's anything that I can do to help you, or, you know, this is what I do, if I can help you at all, you know, let me know. And just opening that door, and then also taking the initiative to support people and etc. But that me doing that genuinely for people, that's why when I post, like, there's people who are gonna always repost me. Sherelle, she's in here, she's one of them. Jayla, she's in here, she's one of them. And I have like a cool little crew of people where we all support each other. I went to the Bay. I'm very proud of this, because I live in LA and I've been in LA for so long. I'm very proud of the fact that I have been able to stay in touch with home and tied in and respected. A lot of people leave and go to LA or whatever, and it's like they become disconnected with where they're from, right? But I stood up at, and this kind of ties, it all ties in. I stood up to ask a question at the YouTube conference, right? And I stood up to ask a question, and a bunch of people cheered for me in a room full of people. Like, this room was packed, and I stood back and I looked at how full the room was, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this room is full of people. Like, but to have a bunch of people on different corners of the room cheer for me before I asked a question, and then I said what I did, and then I said my question, and then now after that, later when we had a break, I had people coming up to me being like, oh, you do, you know, like, you do marketing or this and this and that, and it already made me, like, it gave me that credibility in the room for more people to come up to me and ask about working with me. You know what I mean? And so now also, like, if I'm going and I'm trying to talk to the people who work at YouTube, like, you know, like, what's it looking like? What the job's looking like? You know what I mean? But right. To know that I was well received in the room, And so that's just another like form of, you know, how you treat people and how you do people is going to affect your word of mouth. Word of mouth can be bad. Word of mouth can be good. You know, you might have to ask for the word of mouth
It
sometimes.
ain't no lukewarm with word of mouth. It's
Right.
either bad or good.
Because people not going to say nothing if they're not moved by it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not going to say nothing if they're not moved by it. So, I mean, I think like people are going to talk about you because they hate you, or they're going to share because they love it. And so you got to, you know, give people a reason to love you, ask people to share, ask people, you know, ask people for referrals, but more so make people comfortable with referring people to you.
Right. Right. I just want to end this out. I came up with a segment, has nothing to do with the topic. And I want you to come up with one too.
Okay.
But I'm gonna just call this Bobby Rants, right?
Okay.
And so today's rant will be small, right? Stop wasting people's time. Stop wasting people's time. Stop saying like, "Oh, let me meet with you. I got this opportunity for you. I got somebody that I want you to meet. Oh, let's work on this." Nah, man, stop wasting people's time. Like, if you really want to do it, if you really want to work with the individual, like I think it's been the talk of the week with me, and since the last live I did with Ty is just start off by adding value. Don't even talk about no meeting. Don't even talk about, you know, what I can do, how much money we can make, the play, whatever. Just be like, okay, I see where they missing the gap, right? Like what I try to do for Whitney is, like, any opportunity I get, I try to talk about her platform.
Yes.
Talk about her community, right? That's one of the things that I know I can do for her to help her push her movement for her community, which is a great community, right? But everybody, like, I'm just tired of people wasting people's time. You know what I'm saying? If you're asking for advice and don't use it, that's wasting people's time.
Oh my gosh.
Stop asking for advice if you're not gonna use it. And it be the person that be dying to sit down with you, dying to get this advice. I'm Whitney. Man, please. I see what you're doing. You give them the game.
You see my
You give them the holy grail, and
because
they do nothing with it. You said what?
I said, do you see my face? Because it's literally
Yeah, you got the still face emoji.
that's exactly what they be doing.
So that's it. That's Bobby Rants for today. Is please stop wasting people time. You know what I'm saying? Like, time is the only thing. You could waste my money.
I mean,
Right?
that either.
Don't waste the money.
But for
But
sure.
time is something you can't get back. I can't get back my time. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure, sees my face.
Man. But that's all I got for today, Whitney. Is there anything else you want to say to the people? Please tell them about your community.
Yes, so I have an online community where it was created from a place of wanting to make help with marketing and content more accessible for people where maybe you can't afford one-on-one help. I partnered with an amazing email marketer, and I learned from her as well. So it's a community-based platform where there's weekly live streams, we have assignments, we have workshops. You can post and ask a question. It's interactive. As you can tell, we did this live today. This topic was a suggestion. I love taking suggestions. This community is designed for you to be able to get help with what you need. All you have to do is ask. And because you're a member of the community, we're going to make content just for you about this. The link to join that is called the Content Marketing Community. The link to join is in my bio. And if you are interested in a one-on-one call, the link for that is in my bio as well. It just says click here to work with me.
And we out of here like that there. Oh, boy.
Oh, and if you have but like I was saying, if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, if you have anything like that, like our DMs are open. We take suggestions, share the clips, watch the clips. We do this for y'all, so it's even better if we can do this on topics that y'all request. So feel free. That's it.
Oh boy. Deuces.
Thank you.